The strongest money in the world is Bitcoin.
Imagine having access to a currency that transcends borders, empowers you to truly own and control your wealth, and is considered the strongest form of money in the world. That currency is Bitcoin. Hey there, welcome back to Crypto Savvy. Today, we have a special guest, Michael Saylor, an American entrepreneur and the mastermind behind MicroStrategy. He joined Patrick Bet-David on the PBD podcast, sharing his unique insights into the latest news and developments. Saylor firmly believes in the immense power of Bitcoin, from its unprecedented security features to its potential as a low-risk asset.
This is a Forbes article, okay? Crypto price warning. China, Biden, and the Fed could be about to destroy all value of Bitcoin.
Crypto price warning. China, Biden, and the Fed could be about to destroy all value of Bitcoin. One concern is China's plan to introduce a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, that may undermine Bitcoin. Senator Ted Cruz has also warned about the potential impact of a future digital dollar and the involvement of the Federal Reserve, thereby adding to the uncertainty surrounding Bitcoin's future.
Are you just as concerned about this as Senator Cruz is?
Every time a politician wants to ban guns, there's an explosion in demand to buy guns, right? And so talk about CBDCs really as a marketing event that causes everyone to think about a world where they don't own their own money. And that makes them think, well, what kind of money could I acquire that I would own? And the most censorship-resistant monetary network in the world is Bitcoin. So interest in CBDCs is just going to drive more feverish interest in Bitcoin. It's actually driving awareness, and Bitcoin is growing as people become more aware that they need something which is non-sovereign, store of value, nation-state resistant. But money is it's a store of value, a unit of account, a medium of exchange, and then there's a fourth characteristic that we don't talk about. It's the thing that's not said. It's a system of control. So certain monies are easier to control than others. And on the other hand, Bitcoin is the one network you can't control. Ted Cruz's famous line is, "I like Bitcoin for the same reason the Chinese don't like it. They can't control it." Nobody can control Bitcoin. So if you're insecure about being able to own your own money, do you own it? And can you actually use it without asking somebody's permission? Then the solution is not gold, it's not silver coins, it's not stacks of cash, it's not money in a bank in the US, it's certainly not money in a bank in Lebanon, Argentina, anywhere in Africa. Those banks won't let you take your money out of the bank. Go look at Nigeria, $42 a day, that's how much you can take out of the bank. They're keeping your money. So the one network that you have that gives you a decent chance of owning your own money and then being able to spend it the way you want is Bitcoin. So I'm not worried about Bitcoin. I do think that there'll be a massive political fight over CBDCs. There's a technical challenge. Our government doesn't know how to issue a CBDC. We don't know how to issue digital currency. The people that are issuing digital dollars are the cryptocurrency people, right? Paxos knows how to issue a digital dollar, right? And the regulators sent him a Wells notice saying, shut it down. So the private market knows how to issue digital dollars. The government doesn't. The EU doesn't. The feds don't. And so even if they wanted to, they can't technically right now without somebody else's help. But as long as Congress is split, right, it seems to me quite clear there's a large faction, by the way, on the Democratic and the Republican side. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy, I don't think, is in favor of a CBDC, nor is Ron DeSantis in favor of a CBDC. So there are a lot of free-thinking politicians in both parties that are adamantly against having a system of control where the government can decide.
Now, let's look more closely at the challenges facing the traditional financial system and how Michael Saylor sheds light on an alarming banking crisis. As he discusses the vulnerabilities of banks and the erosion of trust in fiat currencies, we will gain a better understanding of the pressing issues driving the adoption of Bitcoin. Let's hear what he has to say.
So, there's an article that just came out a couple days ago, May 3rd, saying Michael Saylor says banking crisis is driving Bitcoin adoption. This is, MicroStrategy Michael Saylor believes that the fiat and banking crisis is driving the adoption of Bitcoin, stating that Bitcoin adoption is being driven by the progressive global loss of confidence in fiat currencies, conventional banking, and competing assets. Saylor indicated that MicroStrategy will continue to accumulate Bitcoins as investors' confidence in fiat continues to erode, stating that the real key with Bitcoin is just to be able to hold on to it and stomach the volatility. Just to be able to hold on to and stomach the volatility, which, by the way, very, very hard to do. It's hard to kind of make a decision and stick to it during good and bad times. Reason why I ask this question is the following. Gold, on the other hand. There were certain markers you looked at. Hey, inflation is up. Hey, interest rates are going up. Hey, we're printing money. Hey, they're printing more money. Hey, they're sending more money out. Gold would typically, there would be a reaction to it, right? Now, that is more of a reaction towards crypto and Bitcoin, where it's no longer the reaction towards gold. Why do you think that's happened to gold?
I think gold's getting demonetized by Bitcoin right now. If you look at the past 3 years, since MicroStrategy bought $250 million worth of Bitcoin in August of 2020, since that time, Bitcoin's up about 140%. The S&P's up about 20%. NASDAQ's up 10%. Gold's up 1%. Silver's down about 8%. Bonds are down 18%. Conclusion? Right? If you buy debt, government debt, you're going to be bankrupt. That's why those banks are going bankrupt. All the banks had debt when the interest rates went through the roof. The debt traded down, and they all were technically insolvent. The problem with gold is, first of all, if I bought $250 million worth of gold, I can't carry it around in my pocket. I can't take self-custody of it. I can't move it anywhere. I can't transfer it to a counterparty. And so that means I have to put it in a bank. There's only a handful of banks in the world that custody it. And the banks rehypothecate the gold. So that means that if you wanted to sell $250 million of gold, the bank will sell your gold. If you want to buy it, they'll sell you paper, and the paper gold isn't backed by the actual gold. So you have fractional reserve banking of gold, right? You don't want to own an asset where the bank can sell 100x more of that asset than they own. So when you look at this banking crisis, what's going on? What you've got is a bunch of banks everywhere in the world that have shaky assets. Before Bitcoin, you would have bought bars of soap, crates of toilet paper. You would have bought motorcycles. You would have bought a Humvee. You would have bought barrels of oil. You would have bought anything. You would have bought food. You would have bought bullets. You would have bought guns. Anything tangible that you can self-custody, you would have held. The difference between gold and Bitcoin, and the reason Bitcoin's up 140% and gold is up 1%, is the middle-class family can custody their own Bitcoin, and a wealthy person can either hold $10 million of Bitcoin in self-custody, or if I live in Africa, I can move the $10 million of Bitcoin to Monaco, Singapore, London, Paris, New York, or Miami Beach. And that is not an option you have with your gold. It's not an option you have with your dollars. So the bottom line is, if you're trying to use money that requires banks, you can't trust the banks. Okay, so the answer is you shouldn't have any money in a bank, right? You're basically losing 7% of all your wealth every year in a good year. If it's the dollar, you're losing 15% of your wealth in a not good year. If it's the dollar, you're absolutely losing all your money over the course of a decade. Right? The strongest money in the world is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is absolutely capped at 21 million. It is global money. You could take $1 billion of Bitcoin across a border. You can transfer it to a counterparty, and no government can interdict that, and nobody can inflate that. And so my answer there would be, you can't trust any bank.
Michael, but if you call Chase Their customer service is amazing. How is the customer service with Bitcoin when you call the 1-800 number?
There's nobody working at the bank of Bitcoin to steal your money. Right?
Thank you for calling Bitcoin. This is John Doe calling. I can't do nothing for you. You got to make the decision yourself. But I just want to say hi to you.
But, Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace run by incorruptible software. It's going to keep your money. If you are incompetent, then you're going to suffer the consequences. When you lose faith in the bank, the currency, and the government, and someone says, what can you trust? The answer is you can trust Bitcoin because you can custody your own asset, you can run your own node. And at the end of the day, even if the Chinese want to shut it down, they can't. If the Russians want to shut it down, they can't. If any nation state wants to shut it down, they can't. If the US wanted to shut it down, they can't. And so everybody wants something that they can trust that is beyond the reach of a corrupt politician, a corrupt corporate executive, or they don't have to be corrupt. They can just be well-meaning, trying to do the right thing in a misguided fashion. Mm-hmm. And I know that over time, all fiat currencies will fail. And over time, I believe most businesses, in fact, all businesses will not be as good as investing in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the low-risk asset, because Bitcoin is the low-risk crypto network and the high-security crypto network. So the people are going to see Bitcoin as the most secure cyber network or the most secure computer network in the world. But ultimately, the ethically sound, technically sound, economically sound future is for people to realize that Bitcoin is this immutable, incorruptible, non-sovereign computer network, and it's going to protect your money, but it's also going to protect your integrity, and people are going to pay money for truth on that network. Okay, if you don't remember anything else I said today, just remember Bitcoin is hope.
What are your views on Bitcoin and its potential to reshape the future of finance? Do you agree with Michael Saylor's perspective? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. And mark your calendars. Our upcoming video is going to dive into a game changer in the crypto world, featuring none other than Vitalik Buterin. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release it. Stay tuned.